Good morning, everyone. Welcome to General Dynamics Bath Iron Works. We are delighted to have you join us today for the christening of the Louis H. Wilson Jr. DDG 126. My name is Julie Rabinowitz, and I am your Master of Ceremonies this morning. On behalf of the almost 7,000 men and women of this shipyard who take tremendous pride in building this ship, it is my great honor to represent them and to welcome you. I invite you to please rise, if you are able, as the members of the official party take their places on the platform. Captain Jeff Benson, United States Navy, Commanding Officer, Pre-Commissioning Unit, Louis H. Wilson Jr., DDG 126. Ms. Anna Childs, Matron of Honor. Ms. Claire Taylor, Matron of Honor. Ms. Julie Yopes, Maid of Honor. Captain Joshua Fields, United States Navy, Supervisor of Shipbuilding, Bath. Ms. Paige Brown, great niece of the ship's namesake, Chaplain. Rear Admiral Brian Metcalf, United States Navy, Program Executive Officer, Ships. Vice Admiral Brad Skilman, United States Navy, Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Integration of Capabilities and Resources. Colonel Harvey C. Barnum, Jr., United States Marine Corps retired, Medal of Honor recipient and namesake of the future USS Harvey C. Barnum, Jr., DDG 124. Mr. Jason Potter, performing the duties of the Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Research, Development, and Acquisition. General Eric Smith, United States Marine Corps, 39th Commandant of the Marine Corps. The Honorable Angus King, United States Senator, Maine. The Honorable Janet Mills, Governor of Maine. Ship sponsors, the Honorable Susan J. Rayburn, retired United States Navy Captain and former Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Financial Management and Comptroller, and Janet Wilson Taylor, daughter of the ship's namesake, escorted by Mr. Charles F. Crew, President, General Dynamics Bath Iron Works. The Navy Band Northeast, under the direction of Lieutenant Antonio Garcia, will now render honors to the Honorable Janet Mills. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the 1st Marine Corps District Color Guard, the national anthem performed by the Navy Band Northeast, and for our invocation led by Mrs. Brown. Color Guard, parade the colors.
Platform and salute.
Color Guard, retire the colors.
Platform, ready, 2.
Mrs. Brown will now deliver the invocation.
Let us pray. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, we gather in joyful gratitude to you and humble dependence upon you as we ask your blessing on this mighty vessel, the USS Louis H. Wilson, Jr. Thank you for every gifted mind and skilled hand who served to build and prepare her for this day. May your favor shine upon her as she embarks on her service for our country in your world. We join together to give you great thanks for General Lewis Wilson, for Uncle Lewis, this once common enlisted man that you equipped to become such an uncommon heroic leader in so many different assignments. Thank you for his extraordinary integrity, honor, courage, determination, and valor through which you blessed his family, the Marine Corps, and our nation. May the imprint of his character and devotion to duty be reflected in all of the men and women who serve upon this ship. Grant to all of her officers and crew the wisdom to lead, the skill to perform their duties, and the strength to endure the challenges they are certain to face. May they be bound together in unity of purpose and feel the security of their commitment for one another. We ask that you nourish in them warm respect as well as resilience and compassion as well as courage as they live and serve together. Sustain them, protect them, and keep them from harm. Lord, we ask that you watch over each of their families as they support them from afar. Grant them security and safety and a sense of our gratitude for their own sacrifices and service. Give them great joys as you bring their loved ones home to them. We thank you for these sponsors, for Susan Rayburn and Janet Taylor, for their dedication to the mission of this ship, their pledge of support to all within her walls, and their commitment to the incomparable legacy of a beloved father. As we christen this ship, we ask your blessing, O Lord, as the one who holds the seas in the hollow of your hand and the one who commands the wind and waves. Guide her and all whom she carries in the path and purpose of securing justice, promoting peace, defending freedom, and bringing hope throughout the world. May the USS Louis H. Wilson, Jr. reflect her namesake and sail with courage and serve with honor. We look to you, Lord, our rock and our fortress, our strength and our shield. Blessed are all who take refuge in you. So we ask all of this in your holy and matchless name. Amen.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown. You may all be seated. We extend a special thank you to Marine Aerial Refueler Transport Squadron 252, Marine Aircraft Group 14, 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing for today's flyover in honor of General Wilson. There are a number of special guests we would like to welcome in the audience this morning. We are joined by the grandsons of our namesake, Lewis Wilson, this morning, Jared O. Taylor III and Lewis Wilson Taylor. Please stand to be recognized. And would the other members of the Wilson family please stand? The whole Wilson family. There you go. Next, we would like to welcome the members of the Rayburn family. Please stand and be recognized. I would also like to recognize Ann Zumwalt, President of the Society of Sponsors and sponsor of USS Zumwalt DDG 1000. Admiral Lisa Franchetti, United States Navy retired, 33rd Chief of Naval Operations. Mrs. Patricia Smith, First Lady of the Marine Corps and sponsor of the future USS Helmand Province LHA 10. General John Paxton, United States Marine Corps retired, former Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, joined today by his wife, Deborah Paxton, sponsor of the future USNS Balboa EMS 2. Admiral William Lesher, United States Navy retired, former Vice Chief of Naval Operations. The Honorable Nicholas Girton, former Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Research, Development, and Acquisition. Lieutenant General George Peach Taylor, Jr., United States Air Force, retired, 18th Surgeon General of the Air Force and brother-in-law of Janet Wilson Taylor. Lieutenant General Philip Schuttler, United States Marine Corps retired, former Deputy Commandant for Aviation. Rear Admiral James Aiken, United States Navy, retired, former Commander, U.S. Naval Forces Southern Command. Lieutenant Colonel Robert Barrow, United States Marine Corps retired, son of the 27th Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Robert Barrow. Mr. Bob Footer, Deputy Supervisor of Shipbuilding, Bath. And the Honorable Butch Lee, Mayor of Brandon, Mississippi, General Wilson's hometown. Many state of Maine and local officials have joined us this morning. We are grateful to have more than 30 members of the Maine State Legislature attending today's celebration, including the Speaker of the Maine House of Representatives, the Honorable Ryan Fecteau. Will our state senators and representatives please stand and be recognized? We are also joined by Brigadier General Diane Dunn, United States Army, Commander of the Maine National Guard and Commissioner of Defense, Veterans, and Emergency Management for the state of Maine. And we are delighted to be joined this morning by the City Manager of Bath, Mark Myers, and 3 members of the Bath City Council, Councilors Megan Mansfield-Pryor, Louis Rudun, and Chris Marks. Please stand and be recognized. Today would not be possible without one special group of people, the proud shipbuilders of Bath Iron Works. Shipbuilders, please stand and be recognized. I would also like to give special thanks to our volunteers assisting with this event this morning. We deeply appreciate their help in putting this event on for all our honorees and our guests. And we also thank the following law enforcement agencies for their assistance today: the Maine State Police, the Saginaw County Sheriff's Department, and the City of Bath Police Department, with a special thank you to the United States Coast Guard. And finally, would all veterans of all branches of the armed forces please stand? Thank you for your service. And now, I am delighted to introduce our first speaker this morning, the President of General Dynamics Bath Iron Works, Charles F. Crew.
Thank you, Julie. Good morning, everybody, on this wonderful, sunny Maine day. It feels like it's going to get a little warmer than what we would expect today, but I think it's a great tribute to what we have going on with this wonderful christening we're about to proceed with. And I'm delighted to welcome you here to General Dynamics Bath Iron Works. Governor Mills, always welcome, and thank you for coming today. You're a great partner for our shipyard, and you help our state and many shipbuilders and shipbuilding companies along the way. Senator King, over the last 3 years, I've had the pleasure of working with you to support our yard, and you've done a fabulous job, so thank you very much. General Smith, Mr. Potter, Admiral Metcalf, I'm delighted to have you here today. Vice Admiral Skilman, welcome to Bath, and thank you for joining us this morning in this special occasion. To our ship sponsors, the Honorable Susan J. Rayburn and Janet Wilson Taylor, thank you for joining us today, and it's an honor to be here with you. We are privileged to have you and your extended families and friends, as well as others who knew General Wilson, including fellow Medal of Honor recipient, Colonel Harvey Barnum. We all have become very familiar with Barney in our shipyard, and it's very awesome the energy he brings to our ship and to the ship that's named after him. I also want to welcome to all of you who have come to the shipyard here in Bath to be part of this ceremony this morning, and those of you who are watching this event online. As an Army veteran, I am proud to have served this country. And as I am serving my country again here in Bath, it's an honor to be here with you. To those attending today who are actively serving or are veterans of our armed forces, thank you for your service to our nation. We gather here this morning in our dry dock to celebrate a remarkable ship and a very special man. This morning, our guests will share with you moving stories of General Wilson's heroism in war and lifelong service to the Marine Corps. General Wilson's life of service has inspired the men and women of BIW, the thousands of shipbuilders who have brought this ship to life. For my part in this celebration this morning, I want to take a few minutes to describe to you how important our people are. We would not be here today if it wasn't for our shipbuilders. Our team of skilled tradesmen and tradeswomen, engineers, designers, and business professionals, many from many disciplines, safely execute high-quality work in our shipyard on a daily basis. All BIW employees are shipbuilders, no matter what their job. They take their responsibility for building ships and the highest quality ships for our Navy seriously. I am proud to say that we are working more safely, more efficiently, and more effectively, meaning we will deliver this ship and the ships that follow on a faster pace. This morning, we stand in the shadows of future USS Louis H. Wilson Jr. Our motto, Bath Built is Best Built, is more than just a slogan. Our shipbuilders are renowned for their craftsmanship. Our people have developed amazing expertise in the complex structures and the systems that form a guided missile destroyer. Every skilled tradesperson, designer, and engineer is a national treasure. In the more than 3 years that I've been at BIW, I've gotten to know many of our shipbuilders as I walk the deck plates. Our people are dedicated and hardworking. They are second to none. And they put their hearts and their souls and their blood and their sweat and their tears in the ships that they build. Shipbuilding is hard work. Each stage of the process requires attention to detail, teamwork, and dedication to following a plan and follow through. From design and engineering to the start of construction at our structural fab facility, through blasting, painting, outfitting, and testing, eventually sea trials, our people are driving to get these ships delivered to the Navy. We know that the Navy needs these ships as fast as we can build them. As you came in this morning, you may have seen DDG 130 and DDG 132 back on the land level. We are excited to float these Flight 3 destroyers into the Kennebec River in the coming months. The world, I think, as you well know, is a dangerous place. We are proud to see Bath-built ships in the Red Sea today protecting the freedom of our seas and our sailors. The mission we have at BIW is unlike any other. It's a mission that matters. Later this morning, DDG 126 Chief Superintendent Jeff Dagno, Hall Manager Michael Fitzmaurice, and Program Manager Corey Rodriguez will escort our sponsors to the ship for the bottle break. They will represent the thousands of shipbuilders who have proudly played a role in making this ship possible. When DDG 126, the future USS Louis H. Wilson Jr., joins the U.S. fleet, it will sail with the motto of greatness prevails, a fitting tribute to the namesake service in World War II, his bravery in battle, loyalty to and leadership of fellow Marines. It will also sail with the promise that Bath built is best built. When our Navy sailors take this ship into harm's way to protect our country and our families, they deserve our best. Our shipbuilders are a vital part of a larger team one that includes the Naval Sea Systems Command and Supervisor of Shipbuilding, the DDG 126 Pre-Commissioning Unit, and our industry partners. Today, we remember a hero and celebrate a ship that bears his name. When the christening bottle is broken, our sponsors will begin a lifelong relationship with this ship and the crew. On behalf of the hardworking men and women of General Dynamics Bath Iron Works, I am proud to present the Louis H. Wilson Jr. DDG 126 for christening.
Thank you, Mr. Crew. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Governor of the great state of Maine, Janet Mills.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Mr. President Crew, General Smith, Mrs. Taylor, other distinguished guests throughout this audience and on the platform. Mr. Crew, you've done a pretty good job in the last couple of years. You know, for an Army guy, he's adapted well. You know, this world, I think, has too few heroes today. Brave words abound, but few brave deeds. Courage is not the commodity that it once was, but many have come before us whose stories inspire. One of them is this gentleman, the gentleman we remember today. Without rhetoric or bravado or second-guessing, the cause being secure. Louis H. Wilson put himself in the line of fire. Ordered to take control of Fonta Hill, an open expanse of rugged terrain covered by Japanese machine gun and rifle fire, he captured the hill, took command of other units, and organized night defenses in the face of continuous enemy fire. The hail of bullets in the dark would exhaust his men and wound him 3 times in the span of 5 hours. But despite his own injuries, Captain Wilson dashed into the open to rescue a fellow Marine, wounded and lying helpless beyond the front lines. Captain Wilson would wage battle with his men for 10 hours until they at last defeated the enemy in the early morning hours. And even then, he organized a 17-man patrol to seize more vital ground on behalf of the United States of America. Defying gunfire that struck down 13 of his men, he drove relentlessly forward to capture and hold the strategic position, ensuring the success of his regiment. And for that indomitable leadership and dauntless will, risking his life to save fellow Marines, Captain Wilson was awarded the Medal of Honor in 1945. At the heart of the Marine Corps Medal of Honor that he received is the Roman goddess Minerva. Surrounded by laurel and oak, symbols of victory, she stands against a man wielding snakes, signs of discord. I wonder why. In one hand, she holds a bundle of rods and an axe blade, icons of strength. In the other, she holds a shield representing our Union of States. An owl perches on her helmet, the emblem of wisdom. Faced with impossible odds, General Wilson fought for his company and the future of his country, a devotion to duty that we here in Maine know something about. But this ship that will now bear his name on seas across the globe will remind the world of the strength and spirit of America. And that spirit shines here at Bath Iron Works as well. Out of the morning mist of the Kennebec and through the sun, rain, sleet, and snow of Maine, the hard-working men and women of Bath Iron Works gave their strength and sweat and muscle to build this mighty ship in their long-standing tradition of excellence, because as we know, Bath built is best built. Guided by the capable hands of the brave men and women of the U.S. Navy, the Louis H. Wilson Jr. will be an icon of strength and courage, worthy of Minerva's blessing. It will protect our country, our interests, and our allies from dangers known and unknown the world over. I wish the Louis H. Wilson Jr. and its crew fair winds and following seas. And on behalf of the 1.4 million people of the state of Maine, I thank the hardworking men and women of Bath Iron Works for building this living monument to a great man and to the hard work and ingenuity of our state. It is true, there are too few heroes in today's world. But maybe when we read our own history and the stories of men like Captain Wilson, we realize that the courage lies within ourselves, as it did within him on those faithful days in Guam. And as the Louis H. Wilson Jr. embarks, let's honor its namesake from shore to sea and honor and emulate the courage he showed in service to our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Mills. I am now pleased to invite our next speaker, the Honorable Angus King. Senator King is a dedicated supporter of Bath Iron Works.
It was a hot day, October 19th, 2023. A ship launched here almost exactly 30 years ago was on patrol in the Red Sea. There was a crew of 300. It was a quiet day until 1600 hours, when a command came over the intercom, "Clear the weather decks, clear the weather decks." And one of the sailors on board wasn't even sure what that command meant. But he knew a few moments later when he heard the 5-inch gun on the forecastle come to life and he heard the spy radar hum its existence. During the next 10 hours, the USS Carney was engaged in the most intense naval engagement since World War II. It shot down 15 enemy drones and 4 land attack cruise missiles. That day in the Red Sea was congested. There were merchant ships, there were fishing boats, making the defense of that area of that sea even more complicated and difficult. Overall, the Carney experienced 51 enemy engagements on that deployment. And for that service, when the ship returned to the United States, the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Fanchetti, offered it or provided it the Combat Action Ribbon, the first time that award had been offered in this country to an entire ship's crew for over 30 years. I should mention that there were 15 DDGs deployed to the Red Sea during that period, and 12 of them were built right here. And so based on the experience of that ship that day, the success of the repelling of these attacks, I want to thank and recognize the people that built that ship and the people that built this ship. The brothers and sisters who have put their heart and soul into this difficult work through Maine winters and through hot summer days. The people who bent the steel, who welded the steel, who painted the hulls, who pulled the wires, who made the pipes meet. The designers who pulled it all together, and the millions of other actions that make this one of the most complex and important products built in the United States today. The men and women of Bath Iron Works were on the Carney that day. Their work is what enabled the crew to protect the interests of the world in the free trade through the Red Sea, defended our country, and they were the ones that made it safe. So I want to thank the men and women today and their brothers and sisters of 30 years ago and ever since for what they have done, the critical, the important, the sacred work of making our country safer. God bless those shipbuilders. God bless the members of the United States Navy and this new ship that we bring to life today. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator King. Next, we will hear from Colonel Harvey C. Barnum, Jr., representing the Medal of Honor Society.
Well, I stand before you today representing the 61 living recipients of the Medal of Honor. And I bring to you, Susan and Janet, the warmest regards on a special day as we recognize a fellow Medal of Honor recipient, Louis H. Wilson. You know, a lot of great words have been said this morning, many of them from my speech that I was going to give, by the way. So I will not go into the exploits of General Wilson, but I will share with you a few personal things about my association with one of the greatest warriors that I've ever met. 1959, Camp Upshur at Quantico, Virginia. I'm an officer candidate, and the commanding officer of the Training and Test Regiment is Colonel Louis H. Wilson. But needless to say, the drill instructors had really told us about what that blue ribbon with the 5 stars on his chest meant. So I'm standing in a formation one day, and he goes by. He stopped about every 4th or 5th person and asked him a question. And I'm saying, oh, I hope he doesn't stop in front of me. Well, he does. And I looked at that blue ribbon with those 5 stars, and I remembered everything my drill instructors had told me. And then I looked in those blue eyes of General Wilson that were staring right through me. He asked me a question, I answered, and he says, make sure you give it 100% the next 4 weeks, and moved on. Let's go ahead about 10 years, and I fly back from Okinawa for my first Medal of Honor convention. And I walked in the hotel, and I'm in uniform, because back then, when you went on government orders, you wear your uniform, and we're proud of it. And I heard as I went by the bar, hey, Marine, get in here. Well, I went in. There stood General Wilson, General Ray Davis, Joe Foss, Hector Caffaretta, Colonel Bill Barber, and Pappy Boynton. And they welcomed me to the Medal of Honor Society. And someone says, do you want a beer? And I said, well, yes, sir. He says, well, I'll buy you the first one, but you pay your own way when you come to these conventions. Remember that. So that was my introduction. Let's go ahead to an inauguration, which I'm attending. And General Wilson says, I'd like to see you in my room at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. I said, oh my gosh, what have I done? Well, I went to the room. And he said, sit down, Captain. And he told me what the Medal of Honor meant, what it meant to our country, and about the great men who had earned that medal. And he said, don't you ever do anything to disparage that medal. And don't you ever embarrass my Marine Corps. Any questions? No, sir. Dismissed. Let's go ahead until we're both retired. And General Wilson went to Guam to be the guest of honor at one of their anniversaries. And a big parade, and he led it, and Mrs. Wilson was there. And then I remember on that trip, there was a widow and her 2 daughters of the mortarman that was in support of Captain Wilson on the battlefield in Guam. And he took that widow and those 2 girls out to where their dad died. And he told everybody to remain back. He took the widow by the arm, and the girls followed, and they went up to this area. He had them sit on a rock, and he explained what happened that day. And then we stopped back at Punch Bowl Cemetery in Hawaii, and he helped them walk the graves to find their husband and their dad. That's General Wilson. And then years later, he was designated the representative of the United States to come to Hawaii on the 50th anniversary of World War II. And he led the parade. He talked at Punch Bowl. I was his aide, acting aide. And then we went aboard a tour ship. And we went from island to island. And I ran a speakers bureau aboard that ship. But the most important thing that happened is my wife, who accompanied me, and I had dinner every single night, 5 nights in a row, with General and Mrs. Wilson. And one of the McGuire sisters was still alive, and she joined us. Well, my mom and Mrs. Wilson became like this. So, talking about Mrs. Wilson, you know, as I said yesterday morning, Jane Wilson was the wing beneath the general's wings. She stood by him all those years. And when he came up in rank, she was the epitome of the greatest hostess in the world. And she was gracious. I never heard anybody say one derogatory thing about Miss Jane Wilson. Well, anyways, when they were Commandant and she entertained, she just made everybody relax and enjoy and be grateful to be an American. And you know, when she and the general retired, the stewards gave her a plaque. And on that plaque, they made her an honorary steward because she looked out for them. Sometimes when a general was on a tirade, she looked out for them. She treated them like sons. And you know, she's very proud of that plaque. And after the general passed away, I visited her at her home in Birmingham. And that plaque was on the wall in the kitchen. Right, Janet? She was so proud of that. But that's about the Wilsons. That's how they affected my life. Very positively. I gained a lot of strength from both of them. And you know, the previously speakers have talked about at great lengths the great work that BIW has done in the past, is doing now, and we expect to do in the future. But you know, behind the BIW workers who come here every day is the families that support them when they get home. I'd like the families of the Bath Iron Work workers to stand up and take some applause from grateful Americans. It is teamwork. One team, one fight. Well, before I leave, this will probably be the last time that I'll be able to talk to the Bath Iron Workers who built the 124. You did a phenomenal job. We came through the sea trials with an 87%, the highest of the last 8 ships to come through this shipyard. I'm very proud. And a couple of you I know worked on that ship because you said something to me when I was coming in. But for those who now are going to work on the Wilson, another warrior weapon for this great country, give it 100%. General Wilson would expect no less of you. So I say to you all, charge on!
Thank you, Colonel Barnum, and we are very proud to have built your ship here in Bath. Our next speaker this morning is Vice Admiral Brad Skilman.
First of all, Colonel Barnum, stature has nothing to do with height. Thank you so much. And really, I had a whole bunch of people I wanted to thank here, but I really need to thank Linda the most because I'm following Barney on the stage now. And so here we go. So we'll see if we can do 1/10 as well as you did. So really, I want to start out and say, on behalf of the CNO, thank you, Mr. Crew, for your critical contribution to our national defense and the shipbuilding industry. I want to recognize the employees of General Dynamics Bath Iron Works for their incredible work building this warship. We would not be here today without you on this beautiful morning in Maine. JC and I would especially like to thank the ship sponsors, my mentor, and the reason I am an admiral today, the Honorable Susan Rayburn, the former Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Financial Management and Comptroller, and Mrs. Janet Wilson Taylor, daughter of General Louis H. Wilson, Jr. According to naval tradition, the ship sponsors instill their spirit and presence into the ship and will propel this ship throughout its service life. This ship could have no better guides than the two of you. And I want to thank you to Ms. Julie Yobst, Ms. Claire Taylor, and Ms. Anna Childs, our maid and matrons in honor. We're really thrilled that you're here today supporting your sponsors. Captain Jeff Benson, you are exceptionally fortunate to have these two great ladies as your sponsors. Best of luck to you and your crew. To all the extinguished visitors in attendance, thank you. And I really want to highlight, I was stunned by the exceptionally large and distinguished state delegation present. Your presence sends the message that Maine is incredibly serious about our national defense and proud of the contribution that the residents of Maine make to it. Thank you very much. A lot have been said already about General Louis H. Wilson. I will continue that trend here, and I know it'll be followed up in a few minutes by the Commandant's remarks. I do want to say that he was one of the most revered leaders in Marine Corps history, obviously based on his bio that you've read and that pretty blue ribbon that he wore around his neck. But DDG 126 is not merely a vessel. She is a living tribute to the valor, leadership, and unwavering devotion to duty that he had. The ship is the first Bath Iron Works built Flight 3 Arleigh Burke class guided missile destroyer. This is the most powerful destroyer in the entire world. But the true strength of her lies in the name that she bears, that of General Louis H. Wilson, Jr., a Marine whose courage molded the outcome of battle and whose vision helped shape the future of our armed forces. Her steel may be welded together in this shipyard, but her spirit is drawn from Fonta Hill, from the jungles of Guam, and from every Marine and sailor who has ever stood the watch. To Captain Benson and the crew, let General Wilson's legacy guide your actions, decisions, and service. His courage be your compass and his integrity your anchor. She is built to go into harm's way, and her name will strike fear into the foe. CNO's recent message to the fleet directed us to view everything we do through an operational lens focused on the foundry, the fleet, and the way we fight. The foundry represents the enduring sum of our total force. Every ounce of sea power we wield originates in the foundry, the bedrock of our Navy. The foundry is alive here at Bath Iron Works, a leader in designing and innovating and incorporating cutting-edge technology into the ships they build. The Bath Iron Works motto, Bath Built is Bath Best, reflects the greatness of the highly skilled and dedicated men and women producing world-class naval vessels. Without a strong foundry, there is no fleet. DDG 126 as a Flight 3 destroyer will bring a missile defense radar systems that vastly increases her capability over the Flight 2 Alpha ships we've produced in the past. Equipped with Spy 6 radar system, she satisfies the Navy's critical need for enhanced surface combatant integrated air and missile defense capability. She is the right ship now and into the future, pacing the threat and protecting our nation. The future, USS Louis H. Wilson, Jr., DDG 126, built in a great foundry in Bath, Maine, carrying the name of a courageous leader. She will be tempered in the fleet and forged to fight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Admiral Skilman. Next, we will hear from Mr. Jason Potter.
Thank you very much, Julie. Good morning, everyone. It's an absolute honor to be back here in Bath today for the christening of our Navy's next Block 3 guided missile destroyer, the future USS Louis H. Wilson Jr., DDG-126. I'd like to begin by thanking the people that made today possible, the commissioning committee, the ceremonies team, and the industry partners, including the great shipbuilders here at Bath Iron Works. President Crew, thank you for everything you and your world-class team here at General Dynamics Bath Iron Works do to build the world's most capable surface combatants. As Admiral Skilman said, this ship, Bath Iron Works First Flight 3, will take it to the next level. Governor Mills, Senator King, government leaders, we are deeply honored by your presence here today. Thank you for your steadfast support of our Navy and Marine Corps. General Smith, thank you for your leadership, sir, which I benefit from every day at the Pentagon. It's so fitting for you to be our guest of honor today as we christen another lasting tribute to heroism of a legendary Marine. Admiral Skilman, Admiral Franchetti, other active and retired admirals and generals, thank you for being here. The Honorable Nicholas Girton, former Assistant Secretary of the Navy, great to see you, sir. To our incredible ship sponsors in a perfect match, the Honorable Susan Rayburn and Mrs. Janet Wilson Taylor, it was so wonderful to spend some time with you and your families last night. Your presence here signifies a profound connection between this ship and those who will proudly sail aboard her. While already part of the Navy and Marine Corps family, we are honored to have you take on this sacred role. Over the next 6 weeks, we will celebrate the 250th birthdays of the Navy and Marine Corps. Since the first 6 frigates, our sea services have had a storied tradition of both sailors and Marines sailing together aboard ships into harm's way. Today, while our Marines primarily sail aboard amphibious ships, our mighty destroyers are typically named after war heroes. This ship is the latest to bear the name of a Medal of Honor recipient and legendary Marine. Louis H. Wilson Jr. was a true hero. His courageous leadership and command of Company F at the Battle of Guam inspires us all. And this ship is his, but not just his. It also belongs to all the courageous young Americans who fought alongside him, including those who did not make it home, which is how General Wilson would want it. After receiving the Medal of Honor from President Truman, then Captain Wilson said, quote, "The real heroes of the war are not able to receive the medals. They lie buried on the beaches of Tarawa and Salerno, of Guam and Normandy," end quote. Today is their day too. I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize Colonel Harvey Barney Barnum. Another Medal of Honor recipient, as you know, Colonel Barnum has gone underway twice for sea trials aboard his destroyer, DDG-124, and is an inspiration to us all. Chuck, I'm expecting to see a bill for the stateroom we need to add to DDG-124, because I don't think Colonel Barnum is getting off anytime soon. We look forward to commissioning his ship, the USS Harvey Barnum, and adding her to the fleet very soon. In July, the most recent destroyer, DDG-148, was awarded and will proudly bear the name USS Kyle Carpenter, a Marine and our nation's youngest living Medal of Honor recipient. I know the men and women of Bath Iron Works take immense pride in building the ships that honor the best of our country. To all the shipbuilders in attendance, I know this moment is one that fills you with a great sense of pride and accomplishment. This is your day too. And I speak on behalf of the Secretary of the Navy when I say thank you. You aren't just doing incredible work for the Navy and Marine Corps, you are a strategic national asset. What you do with your hands and your minds every day, as Senator King said, saves lives, protects our nation, deters wars, and keeps our nation prosperous and free. Given the critical importance of this workforce, the Navy, with the support of your congressional delegation, is making investments here in Maine. We have put tens of millions of dollars into quality of life improvements for our shipbuilders, including housing, childcare, parking, and transportation services to make what will always be a hard job a little bit easier. Quite simply, you deserve it, and we have more to do. In closing, I would like to say that today is a great day for Bath Iron Works, a great day for our ship sponsors and their families who will fulfill a sacred duty throughout the life of this ship, and it is a great day for the Navy and Marine Corps. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Potter. I am pleased now to invite up our principal speaker this morning, General Eric Smith, the 39th Commandant of the Marine Corps.
Well, good morning. We got to try that again. This is a warship named after a Marine Medal of Honor recipient. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, that's a little more like it. That's, I think General Wilson would be proud. So distinguished guests, sailors, Marines, industry partners, families, and friends, welcome to this ceremony. There are far too many distinguished visitors, distinguished guests for me to call out, because if I start down that road, we will be here for an hour, starting with General Paxton. So our former assistant commandant, the ACMAC Emeritus. So again, I have the attention span of a moth. And so I will probably likely start calling people out of the crowd, like Admiral Franchetti, my shipmate. But if I do that, again, we will be here all day. So again, to everyone who has taken of their time to be here to bring forth the Navy's newest warship. And she is a warship. She's designed to avert war. But if called upon, she's designed to win a war. That's what this ship does. That's what her crew does. That's what her prospective captain does. They win wars. To Governor Mills, Senator King, the Honorable Mr. Girton, Mr. Potter, and again, Admiral Skilman, Admiral Franchetti, Jay Paxton, Admiral Bill Lesher, my former shipmate, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be here with us on this historic day, and it is truly historic. Thank you also to Colonel Barney Barnum, representing the Medal of Honor Society, and Mrs. Zumwalt with the Society of Sponsors. If you haven't read Colonel Barnum's Medal of Honor citation, and if you haven't read General Wilson's Medal of Honor citation, you should Google it. They make this thing called Google now. You can look it up, and you can read it, and it will turn your hair white. The amazing heroism displayed by Lew Wilson, and then his indomitable spirit as he went on to command our Marine Corps as our Commandant, is something that is truly legendary. I extend my sincere congratulations and thanks to Mr. Krug and the shipbuilders of Bath Iron Works, because Bath built is best built. That much I know. Bath built is best built. I am proud to join in celebrating your many successes as you prepare this vessel for a life of distinguished service as a warfighting platform. To our ship sponsors, the Honorable Mrs. Susan Rayburn and Miss Janet Wilson Taylor, your presence today is a lasting gift to this ship and her crew. You embark on a journey that will last for your lifetime and the lifetime of this ship. Today we mark the significant milestone in the life of the future USS Louis H. Wilson, Jr., the first Flight 3 destroyer launched from Bath Iron Works, a Flight 3. That is a significant improvement over Flight 2. It's not just a number. It means added capabilities. It means more lethality. It means more survivability. It means when it goes in harm's way, it's going to deliver and it's going to come home. The Flight 3 destroyer brings improved technologies that add power, reach, and resilience needed to support our Navy and Marine Corps team on the modern battlefield against an ever-increasingly capable adversary. It is fitting that she bears the name of a Marine whose service is rooted in some of the most impactful naval campaigns in our nation's history. Louis H. Wilson, Jr. entered the crucible of World War II at Bougainville and was tested again in the assault on Guam. There, under brutal fire, Captain Wilson showed the courage, resolve, and leadership that defined him and defined his life. Wounded but unbroken, he rallied his Marines through the fog of war, demonstrating that greatness prevails. Nearly 80 years ago, he was awarded the Medal of Honor for those actions. But his story did not end there. Again, I would encourage you to Google and read the entire citation. After World War II, Wilson rose through the ranks, commanding, recruiting, and leading Marines. In time, he became our 26th Commandant, leading the Corps through the challenges of the post-Vietnam era, a difficult time for everyone. As Commandant, he strengthened our ability to prepare integrated formations for combat by founding our premier training facility at 29 Palms, California. It's our desert training base. It's where we do combined arms. It's the largest single contiguous airspace in the DoD inventory. It is an amazing place, and he built it. His vision built it. And he gave the Corps enduring advocacy within the Joint Force by codifying the Marine Corps' permanent seat on the Joint Chiefs of Staff, a position that I still hold today. Through it all, he never lowered our standards. He refused to lower standards. He believed, as we still do, that the strength of the Corps rests on the quality of the individual Marine. Every Marine a rifleman, every Marine a warrior. From his first fights in the Pacific to reshaping the Corps for the future, his service forged a legacy that endures to this day. Commandant Wilson's name on this destroyer reminds us that a warship is not only a tool for the future fight, it's a symbol of American strength carried across the seas. This ship carries forward the spirit that he lived by, the valor of a Medal of Honor Marine, and the uncompromising standards he set as the Commandant of our Marine Corps. In bearing his name, this ship will stand in the proud tradition of American sea power, sailing with courage amid chaos, resolve against the odds, and the vision to keep Marines and sailors ready for the fight that's coming, because it is coming. Proving, as General Wilson did, that greatness prevails. To the shipbuilders of Bath Iron Works, thank you once more for your craftsmanship and devotion. A ship like this does not get built by itself. It gets built by the hands of craftsmen, and they are tremendous. They build a phenomenal warship. This destroyer is your handiwork, and her strength will carry your legacy far beyond this shipyard. We are a maritime nation, and security beyond our shoreline rests on our ability to project naval power. We can project land forces, but they have to have somewhere to go. They have to have a base to operate from. When we operate a naval vessel, be it an amphibious warship or a destroyer, it doesn't need a home port. It can sail indefinitely. As long as there's a resupply ship or a resupply helicopter, it can sail indefinitely. And this vessel is designed to do that. The keels that you lay form the backbone of naval power, enabling our Navy and Marine Corps team to safeguard America's interests abroad from the sea. To our sponsors, the Honorable Susan Rayburn and Janet Wilson Taylor, thank you for binding your names and spirits to this ship. Your role will remain a lasting part of her life at sea, and she will spend the majority of her life at sea. And to all gathered here today, family, friends, shipyard workers, thank you for sharing in this moment. Together, we send this ship forward, confident in her crew, her sponsors, and most importantly, in her name. And so today, we christen the ship in honor of Commandant General Louis H. Wilson, Jr., a Medal of Honor recipient, a warrior, a legend in the Marine Corps. May this ship defend freedom wherever she sails, and may her crew find fair winds and following seas, all while sailing under the name of Louis H. Wilson, Jr., a true hero of our nation. And again, if you have not read his Medal of Honor citation, you should read it. It is the stuff that legends are made of. They don't make this stuff up. It is truly remarkable that he survived, just like Colonel Barnum. Truly remarkable that he survived. And you owe it to yourself to read this citation. So again, on behalf of your United States Marine Corps, thank you for being here today to honor our former Commandant and to christen this ship, which is going to sail forward in your name as an American. Semper Fidelis.
Thank you, General Smith. Now, before I invite our sponsors up to say a few words, I would like to share a little about Susan Rayburn and Janet Wilson Taylor, the sponsors of DDG 126. So the Honorable Dr. Susan J. Rayburn, Captain, U.S. Navy, retired, was born and raised in Kansas. She earned her undergraduate degree from the University of Kansas and master's degrees from Boston University, San Diego State University, and the Industrial College of the Armed Forces. During her naval career, Susan served for more than 20 years on active duty in a variety of assignments, including duty overseas and on the staff of the Chief of Naval Operations and of the Joint Staff. Retiring from the Navy in 2000, she went on to serve in a series of federal senior executive service positions, including roles at the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the U.S. Customs Service, and the U.S. Agency for International Development, where she was responsible for the integration of development, diplomacy, and defense elements of the national security strategy. Susan went on to earn a PhD at the University of Virginia's Darden School of Business, specializing in business ethics, while teaching at the Virginia Military Institute. She later served as the inaugural director of the Institute's Center for Leadership and Ethics. In 2013, Dr. Rayburn was nominated and confirmed as Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Financial Management and Comptroller, serving in that position in the Pentagon until January 2017. Susan is married to David W. Rayburn, Colonel, U.S. Air Force retired. She and David have 3 daughters, Megan Kappas, Dr. Stacy Obst, and Dr. Allison Lee, and 4 grandchildren, Julie, Jesse, Jack, and Clara. Susan and her husband reside on their 290-acre alpaca farm in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. Janet Louise Wilson Taylor is the only child of General Lewis Hugh Wilson and Lula Janet, called Jane, Clark Wilson. She was born at Camp Pendleton, California in 1956 after her parents' 12th wedding anniversary. Janet was named after her mother and her father, so Jane plus T and Lewis plus E. Janet is a true Marine Corps junior, living in 13 different homes and attending 8 different schools before college. She is a 1973 graduate of Punahou School in Honolulu, Hawaii, and received her Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science and History from Auburn University in 1977. She attended the University of Alabama Law School, where she was a Hugo Black Scholar and served on the editorial board of the Alabama Law Review. She received her Juris Doctor degree in 1982. Janet met her husband, Jared Taylor II, called Jerry, in law school. They married in 1983. She practiced law in Birmingham until the births of their sons, Jairus Otis Taylor III and Lewis Wilson Taylor. In 2000, General and Mrs. Wilson moved to Birmingham to be closer to Janet, Jerry, Jared, and Wilson. They lived there until their deaths in 2005 and 2014, respectively. Janet is a passionate and respected master gardener, working at the Birmingham Botanical Gardens for more than 15 years and serving on the garden's board of directors. Thanks to her father's instruction and encouragement, she is an avid tennis player. And Janet has 5 grandsons, JJ, Theo, Aiden, Miles, and Henry. Please give a warm welcome to the Honorable Susan J. Rayburn and Janet Wilson Taylor.
Wow, what a day. Governor, Senator, Commandant, gentlemen, you give me far too much credit, Brad. Colonel Barnum, Janet, most of all, Chuck. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Distinguished speakers, distinguished guests, family, friends, and for those who are watching via live stream, hello. It's a beautiful morning to bring to life a United States Navy ship, especially one that celebrates the life and heroism of General Louis H. Wilson, Jr. I am honored to serve alongside his daughter and my good friend, Janet Wilson Taylor. And as I said last night, she is every bit of her father and her mother. Together, we stand ready to share all of who we are, to bring traits in us to life as the spirit and soul of this mighty warship. We're prepared to do that, not just for today, but for the life of the ship, and to assure it continues on through our maid and matrons of honor. I grew up as a young naval officer during the Reagan era. It was an era that was known for the drive towards a 600-ship Navy. We saw the recommissioning of the battleships and fostered just the hopes and dreams of ships that would become the Arleigh-Burke destroyers. I never dreamed I would serve as a co-sponsor of one of these ships. Yet here we are today. Before we bring the ship to life, I want to take a moment to share the spirit that I hope to bring to the life and soul of this behemoth of a ship. It is a spirit that was molded and shaped in me by hundreds of men and women who I have had the honor of serving alongside, those who have cared for me in tough times, and those who have allowed me to care for them when things got hard. Who I am and who I bring to the life of this ship, I hope who they have helped me to become. It is the spirit of the bosun's mates who taught me what it truly means to be a sailor when I was a brand new ensign straight out of Kansas. It is the spirit of the chiefs, the senior chiefs, the master chiefs, the warrant officers who taught me how to really listen to the stories of the men and women who served with me, especially those who appeared before me at captain's mast. Those in distress, helping find their individual path out of difficulty and onward to success. It is the spirit of Colonel Bob Reddick right there, my boss on the Joint Staff, who in his own Army way made sure I was doing my job. He was always honest, he was always fair, and he was always caring. Thank you, Bob. It is a spirit of Robin White, who is here somewhere today, and Chief John Belmere, who worked alongside me on the Joint Staff and in future jobs, never failing to tell me with truth and conviction how they saw any given situation, always encouraged me to press on, regardless of the challenge. It is the spirit of Mr. Jim Storms, who couldn't be here today because of the death of a good friend. This is a man who began his career in the FBI as a GS-2 in the New York office, rising to the senior-most ranks because of his unrelenting work ethic, dedication to the mission, his steadfast and enduring devotion to taking care of those who could not take care of themselves. It is the spirit of Admiral Bill Lesher right there, a man with courage, a man with vision, a man with humility and a sense of humor, who always took the time to listen to alternate points of view and without hesitation make the right decision for the good of the Navy. It is the spirit of General John Paxton, right there, and General Glenn Walters, two ACMACs who challenged me like only Marine ACMACs can do to take on the toughest problems. to make sure the Marine Corps was well-equipped, well-trained, and ready. And in the case of General Paxton, that Marines would receive the quality medical care they were promised and deserved at Kaneohe, and I've never forgotten that. It is the spirit of Jason Reynolds and Ed Gardner. Jason is here somewhere. People in extremely difficult jobs who were never afraid to tell me exactly what I needed to hear, even if it wasn't what I wanted to hear. Because it was the right thing to do. It is the spirit of Mary Kay Tampa and Karen Fenstermacher, whose grace, dignity, and decency, regardless of the circumstances, always set the bar for me and always lived up to the standard they set for themselves. It is the spirit of then Captain, now Vice Admiral, Brad Skilman. Admiral Jim Aiken, who's here somewhere. Mr. Joe Marshall, who couldn't be here today. Marine Major, now Colonel Edna Rodriguez, who couldn't come because the Marine Corps demands other things of her today. My Marine aide gang, where are you, Captain? Right there. Master Sergeant Henry Zelaya, right there. None of these people hesitated to bring their very, very, very best to the job every single day, and they expected the same from me. It is sheer determination coupled with dogged perseverance. I sincerely hope and pray that these are the traits that I bring to bear on this mighty warship. I hope they're the traits that General Wilson wanted in the heart and soul of the men and women who will serve on board in the decades to come. It is truly an honor, and most especially an honor, to share this responsibility with his daughter, Janet Wilson Taylor. Thank you.
Wow. A lot of words about my dad in the Marine Corps. I can give you a lot of words about him at home. It's an honor and a privilege for me to be here today, to join with Susan in christening the Louis H. Wilson Jr. I am overwhelmed by the ceremony and your attendance to honor my dad. If he were here today, I know he would be outwardly humbled and inwardly thrilled. First and foremost, let me thank Bath Iron Works and the shipbuilders for your craftsmanship and care in the construction of this magnificent warship. Dad would not want his name attached to something second class. And to that point, we have no worries. From above, I hear Dad saying, Bath built is best built. Thank you for a job well done. To Susan, as sponsors of DGG 126, we are in lockstep to ensure the ship that I like to call the General Wilson will pulse with Dad's spirit, a spirit that demands excellence on every front. Thank you for marching with me arm in arm. To all the Taylors, I have to thank my family, so hold on. Each of you is a godsend in my life. Jerry, at my side for 42 years, is an even-keeled pillar of strength. He also has the claim to fame of successfully asking my father for my hand in marriage. It took a minute. To Jared and Wilson, our sons, each of you carry the legacy of your grandfathers and grandmothers with dignity and grace. To Anna and Claire, my matrons of honor, you are both women of rare intellect, unparalleled resilience, and mothers extraordinaire. I must mention my 5 grandsons, because I'm the grandmother, affectionately known as Tutu. I got to pull my ear because I'm telling him here I am. That's the thing. To JJ, who's here, Theo, Aiden, Miles, and Henry, each perfectly unique. Perhaps coincidentally, perhaps not, 3 of my father's 5 great-grandsons, Aiden, Miles, and Henry, have their birthdays today. As a 26th Commandant of the Marine Corps, at a critical time in its history, my father was the right person for the right job at the right time. You have heard recurring themes in his character: resilience, leadership, readiness, teamwork, forward thinking, high expectations, and humor. These are the qualities that I expect the General Wilson, his namesake ship, to embrace and embody. My father, who would have been 105 years old this year, was born in Brandon, Mississippi, a small town that he would often say was the center of the universe. He became the man of the house at only 5 years old when his father died, and his responsibilities began early. This shaped him. Dad graduated from high school in 1938, the same year electricity arrived at his house. He attended Millsaps College, joined the Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity, and worked at Mr. Albert Shield's store, where he was famous for being able to hold a dozen loose eggs in one hand. Upon his college graduation, he joined the Marine Corps. At boot camp and beyond, when others complained that Marine Corps life was difficult, he would respond, "Every day in the Marine Corps is like Sunday on the farm." He received the Congressional Medal of Honor for his actions on Guam in 1944. He never initiated a discussion about those actions or the medal, but when asked, he would always answer, "I had a good company, they did the work, I got the credit." When he was chosen as Commandant in 1975 and called on all Marines to get in step and do so smartly, he said it with unmistakable authority. Marines could tell instantly that their new leader was determined to righten the ship, and they responded. In 1975, the Marine Corps had been a great fighting force for 200 years. This is the 250th birthday of the Marine Corps this year, and my dad was Commandant on the 200th birthday of the Marine Corps. I can proudly say that Louis Wilson was one of the commandants that helped the Marine Corps' greatness to prevail. Dad believed in readiness, which requires fitness and self-discipline. As Commandant, he ran a few miles on the streets of DC each morning to demonstrate that the requirements of fitness applied to all Marines. As a father, he was awesome. He taught me to drive his car, a stick shift, of course, on the tank trails in Camp Pendleton. I was 9. He was proud of my accomplishments at school and beyond, but was not demanding. I knew his expectations were high, and I did my best to meet them. I knew that he loved me more than anything in the world. As a valued member of our 3-person family team, he was comfortable using me as a training tool for the troops. When I was 4 years old, and he was the commanding officer of the basic school, he taught me how to climb a rope in our backyard at Quantico, hand over hand, not using my feet. Without telling my mother, of course. Dad would take me on a field trip to the obstacle course at the basic school. To Marines having difficulty with the rope climb, he would have me demonstrate just how easy it was for, as he said to them, even my 4-year-old daughter can do it. I wasn't popular with the Marines, but I was 4. He loved discussing anything. and most enjoyed when he could play devil's advocate. He loved a good pun, a clean joke, and would write funny toasts for parties. His favorite line of caution to me and my mom as we headed out shopping was said with a chuckle. It was, "If you can't be good, be economical." His favorite line of praise was, "Have I ever told you that you're the greatest?" His favorite line of encouragement was, "Get with it." I would be remiss if I did not mention my mother. Jane Clark Wilson from Pearson, Mississippi, was as responsible for my father's success as any of his accomplishments or any trait of his character. In fact, it was their teamwork that made them the perfect first couple of the Marine Corps. She was elegant and loving and gracious, a steel magnolia who charmed every person in her path because of her genuine love of people. She never owned a pair of tennis shoes and didn't want to, but she was the head cheerleader of the Marine Corps for all of her 93 years. Today, as we christen this mighty warship, the General Wilson, I give thanks and praise to God, for he is good and gracious and has watched over our family and me for generations. I pray God will protect this ship and all who sail aboard her, and I know that Jane and Lou Wilson will have the watch from above every day going forward. Thank you, and now let's get with it.
Thank you, Susan and Janet. And now, in Janet's words, it's time to get with it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the moment that we've all been waiting for. In just a few minutes, Susan and Janet will christen this ship, Louis H. Wilson, Jr. Our sponsors and matrons and maid of honor will be escorted to the christening platform by Jeff Dagno, Chief Superintendent, Michael Fitzmaurice, Hull Manager, and Corey Rodriguez, Program Manager for DDG 126, the future USS Louis H. Wilson, Jr. I invite our sponsors and Mr. Crew, Captain Benson, General Smith, and Mr. Potter to proceed to the ship for the christening. Great speech, thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the LED display if your view is obstructed. Our platform guests are welcome to move to an area of the stage for a better view. And now, for the moment that we have all been waiting for, the sponsors will christen the ship.
For the United States of America, I christen thee Louis H. Wilson, Jr. May God bless this ship and all who sail in her. 1, 2, 3.